Alright guys, what we're going to do for the next couple of days now is kind of a fun topic. We're going to learn how to draw and photo edit, and we're going to do it using a couple of different programs, some that you install on your computer like Fireworks and Paint Shop Pro and Adobe Photoshop. Those are the ones we have at school. Plus in the second day we're going to look at some really cool cloud applications, and they're just as good or better than the ones we use in class. Okay, so for the first day we're going to take a look at some basic skills. We're going to learn how to use a drawing program called Fireworks, and then we'll take a look at some special features of it. The next day we will look at some other programs like Paint Shop Pro and use it to do capture programs. We're going to do another program called Adobe Photoshop Elements, and then, like I said, we're going to learn a couple of cloud apps. Then for the first time we're going to have a group assignment, so you can work with a partner, and I'm going to give you a series of photos to edit. I'm going to ask you to draw a couple of things. It's going to be kind of cool. Alright, so first program we're going to look at today, like I said, was a program called Fireworks. It's part of Adobe. Adobe has Flash, and it has another one we're going to learn later on called Dreamweaver, and this one right here is used for drawings. Okay, and basically when it starts up you see this screen, and then you choose right here Fireworks document PNG. It's kind of different, eh? We usually have JPEGs and GIFs. This one also does this format called PNG. So when you press that button, it's going to ask you how big do you want to make your screen. Now if you don't really know, pick a fairly big number. We can always shrink it later on. Second of all, do you want your background to start off white, a special color that you pick? I always like to pick transparent. You can always fill it in later. Transparent blends in better in most situations. Now when you press OK, your screen will look something like this. This is your canvas. It's a pretty big canvas, right? And it's got these kind of like little blocks, and that's how it knows it's transparent. Okay, and actually let me show you what it would look like if you didn't pick transparent. What if you picked white? It would look like that, right? What if you pick something else? Would look like that. Okay, so anything can be a background. I always like to have it transparent, and then you can fill it in with whatever color you want later on. So let's go back one more time. So I'm going to pick transparent. Okay, so what kind of stuff can you put on here? Well, there are basically two kinds of things that you can do when you draw. You can draw freehand. That's called BitFix. That's not too good, is it? That's white. How come I knew that was white? Well, see over here? You can pick a color that you want to draw with. Now I'm drawing in blue. Okay? You can fill. You want to fill a color, put it in orange. Okay? So that's bitmap graphics, and you can do all kinds of neat stuff. You can also erase with a big eraser. Alright, you can fill out things that's rubbing out the background. And obviously the size of it, you can change the size of it. That's a huge size. You can make it a lot smaller. Okay. Other things that you can do, you can actually have like a pencil to write stuff. But basically you're drawing in pure, like what you would think, like with a pencil or some sort of paintbrush. Okay. The second kind of drawing, and I'm going to start fresh again. Keep doing this a lot. Okay. The second kind of drawing is what's called a vector drawing. And a vector drawing basically is almost like a mathematical thing. So you don't sort of freehand as much as you could with the other things. What you do is you draw shapes like rectangles, whatever. Alright, let's draw one right now. There's a rectangle. Hey, how come it was an orange? Because I told it to be an orange. Now it's in yellow. Now it's in brown. Okay? So that tells you what you want to do with it. Now once you draw this, what if you want to change it a little bit? Well, there's all these tools up here. There's a scale tool, and you can shrink it. When you get really close to the edge here, you can rotate it. Okay, and you can do this thing called skewing. You can stretch it. You can do all kinds of things to it. Okay, and we're just going to rotate it back again. Now, other things that you can draw, you see a rectangle. If you put your finger down long enough, okay, you get other kinds of shapes. Whatever you want to draw. Alright? It's reasonable. You can draw a star. Let's switch colors, pick something else. Okay, and again, put your finger down long enough, you can draw an ellipse. An ellipse is like a circle. It's like about football. What if you want to draw a perfect circle? You can. Let's pick red. I'm going to put my finger down the shift key and then do it. Look at it. Perfect circle. Okay, so if you don't put your finger on the shift key, it draws like a football. Put your finger on the shift key, perfect circle. All right, so these are vector drawings. All right, you can draw lines, of course, too. And again, look at it. It's kind of crooked. Put your finger down, it draws a perfectly straight line. Don't like how thick that is? Look down here. You can change the thickness of the line. All right, now how fat that line is. Okay, the next one I'm going to draw like that. Comes out pretty thick, right? So there's all kinds of stuff down here that you can change. All right, so those are the two basic kinds. So when you use paint in this painting in Fireworks, a couple things you have to know. First of all, what you draw on is called the canvas, and you can always tell the computer how big you want your canvas. Okay, and you can tell the color background or keep it transparent. There are two ways to draw in Fireworks. You can use bitmap graphics, some of this stuff, and we're going to try some other ones in a few minutes. And you can use vector drawings. Okay? Now, what about words? How about we want to type in some words? No problem. Press right here. This is how you do words. You make a big rectangular box, and then you start typing. Now, when you type, this will be the font that you're typing in. You can change it. This will be how it is. I've got it set to bold. You don't have to have it bold. You can have it back to regular if you want. This is the font size. Now watch, as I slide this up, it's going to get bigger. Okay, so if I type in, whoops, it's in white. Don't like that. Switch it to black. Okay, so I'm going to type the same John Day Great Bluff. Oh, I didn't want that all on two separate lines. I wanted one line. No problem. Drag that like that. You have to drag it a bit more until it totally fits what you're trying to do. Now, as you drag it, if you don't get it very good, click on this arrow, and that usually gets you a better grab of the word. Okay, St. Jean de Rebuff. Now that's not that cool. Let's fancy it up a bit. Watch where I'm going with my mouse. Down here at the bottom, there's these things called filters. I like these. These are cool. When you press a filter, there's all these different options. You can change the color and stuff. Bevel and boss, those are pretty cool. I'll show you those in a sec. But the one that I like right off the bat, this one's the classic drop shadow. See how it stands out? Now we're talking. Now it looks very professional. Now what if, for instance, we'll just stay on this one for a second, you were done and this was going to be something that you were going to put on your title page. Okay? Maybe you're going to add a picture later on. I don't have a picture right now to add, but let's say this was your title page. If you put this on your title page or in some program or in Word, let's say you wanted to have a fancy title and you wanted to put it into Word, how would that go? Well, all of this would be loaded in your picture, which would be kind of stupid. You'd have all this extra white stuff. So a thing that you can do when you work with this program is after you've done whatever you have to do, and maybe, just for fun, let's add a little box on here too, just for an effect. We'll add a box here. Okay, and I don't like that color. I'll make it a different color. Oh, geez, it went in front of my name. I didn't like that. How do you fix that? Remember that? What's that called? Arrange? Send to back? Yeah, that's alright. Now it's behind it. I guess it looks kind of cool, right? Let's make it even cooler. Let's do a shadow on that one, too. Hey, that looks kind of cool. Hey, I got another idea. You see how you can get crazy with this stuff? I'm gonna do that rotating stuff. And I'm gonna put it behind. I like that. That looks kind of neat. Alright? So you're starting to experiment. But anyway, you've decided, okay, that's enough. I think I like that. And I'm gonna shrink it down a bit more, actually. Okay, that's gonna be what I'm gonna use. Now, what about this other white junk? I don't want it anymore. So what you do is you go up to Modify, Canvas, Trim. And now, only this will be saved. Okay, so all that other junk is gone. Then you go to save it. Now, a couple ways to save it. You can go File, Save As, obviously, and then it saves it as a PNG. Now let me just show you where I'm going to save it for a sec. Okay, we're going to save it right in here. I'm just going to call this test. It'll be saved as a PNG. Now, PNGs, you can use those to go into any program. You could load up Word after, bring it in there. You could do whatever you want. But I'm just going to save that for a second. And now I'm going to do a new. Okay. Let's say you were working on another project after, and you were going to add a few more pictures or whatever. Here's how you would bring them in and then add your own feature. See, this is different now than just when you load in something. Okay. When you load in something, it loads in something that's already there. That picture. Okay. We're going to do something different. This is my blank canvas, and I'm going to not load in a picture, I'm going to import, because I'm going to bring in more than one thing. So I'm going to bring in, when I just loaded in, I guess I could do that if I wanted to. I could bring that in. But where is it? Well, you don't really see it yet. You get this little angle thing. And I'm going to bring it in. Okay? So there's the angle thing, and now I'm going to load in another thing. Import, and I'm going to bring in the picture or the sort of thing that I made right there, and I'm going to put it on top. So there's the two things together. Alright, and I can move that behind again. And then when I'm happy with that, I go to Modify, okay, Canvas, Trim, and I keep doing the same process, and now that could be a project or an image that I made, and I could save that. Okay, for our last couple of minutes of using this program, I'm going to show you a couple of neat tricks. Now, there's millions of things you could do, and what you're going to do is experiment on your own time. I'm going to give you a couple of problems to try, but really you have to try to do them yourself. Now let me give you a couple of extra neat things that you could do. I'm going to go into sample images here, and I'm going to actually load in a couple of pictures that I want to change. So I'm going to show you the first one here, and let's do this thing right here. Okay, so I've got this picture here, and you know what? See that red color? I want that book to be that color. Now, how do I know exactly what that red color is? It looks red. It could be a little bit of an off red. Here's where you could use this thing called the eyedropper. You press it, and then you go on top of the book, and look at the fill color is turned red. So now you go to the paint can, and you press there, and you make the book red. Okay, so that's one kind of neat trick. Here's an even cooler one. You're gonna laugh at this kid's hair. It's worse than even Mr. Shirelli's. Okay, what do you want to call it? Yeah, it's funny helmet hair, if you want to call it that, right? How can you fix that guy's hair? Well, there's a really cool thing over here. It's called a rubber stamp. Sometimes people call it a clone. That's what I like to call it. But anyway, here's how it works. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a bit of this white background, and I'm going to clone it over his hair, and it's going to sort of smooth it out. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to put myself over here. You notice that little thing that's kind of funny. I'm going to press it. Alright, and I'm going to walk away. So what the computer is going to do in a second is going to take that part of the screen. So wherever I rub with this circle, it's going to be the color of where I just marked it. So watch what happens. See how his hair is going kind of smoother? Now I got to redo it again, so watch. Sometimes you have to set it again. So you press over here. Oh, took off part of his head. Because what it's doing is it's taking from there. Let me go over here, and I'll grab from over here. Let me go over here. So what it's doing is taking part of the head off of there. Okay, let me go over here, and you see again I'm taking part of his hair off. It's starting to get a bit smoother, a bit nicer. A little bit weird. It's almost making him bald like Mr. Shirelli. Okay, but this is called cloning. I'll give you another place where you could use cloning. Let's load in one more picture to finish up. Alright, so that's cloning to sort of smooth out stuff, but you can use cloning to do all kinds of stuff. So let me quickly grab one more picture. Okay, here's a bunch of books, right? So let's click over here first. Okay, here we go. So you press the clone button, and then you go where you want to clone. I'm going to go right there. Alright, and then you can make that erase. So it's gone. Okay, that's the basic idea. It goes from one spot, and you can overwrite other places with it.